What is up, everyone? It's Terrorbosk here, and as you can see, we are pretty much snowed in and are pretty much banned from doing anything. So, because I wanted to get you guys something, here is the full series so far of the build of the cheap Civic. I hope you enjoy. When you think of Honda, you think of three things: small, quiet, and compact. So what in the heck did I just get myself into? So this is my cheap JDM find. It's a 1995 Honda Civic LX sedan. Doesn't seem like much, I know. It's not even a manual. Introduced in 1972, the Honda Civic was one of the first successful compact cars to enter the market, especially over here in the US. But I did score one thing, and that's what's under here. Honda's 1.5 VTEC 4-cylinder. Hi, future me talking. Yeah, I found out that this is not a VTEC. Oh yeah, I didn't even get a VTEC. This is a B15 B7 1.5 4-cylinder, not a VTEC. That was a 1.6. This is an American spec one, which means it has a whopping 102 horsepower, which unfortunately means that this is slower than a Prius. It also didn't help that the day after I picked this up, this happened.
There you go.
Like, again, it's already gonna fall off. Did it break?
Yep. It's just seized.
Give me a freaking hammer. Give me a freaking hammer.
Yeah, here you go.
My car, I'm doing the honors.
He said my car, I get to do the honors.
There we go.
I hate hangers.
Yeah, it looks like we're just deliberately taking the muffler off, but it was already falling off. And actually, on my way home, something else happened. Alright, so the back of this seat is broken, so we've got to get this seat out. Should just be one bolt here. I've already got that one out. You got one over there, and you got two on the back. Yep, that's the broken part. So Dad was actually able to take an old piece of the exhaust and actually MacGyvered its way to actually fixing the problem. Trust me, it doesn't look very good, but it works, and still to this day works really well. Yeah, I'm not really helping the Honda stereotype with the exhaust falling off the day after I get it. Now, I originally got this to drive back and forth from work since I don't have my truck as a charger. And I was planning on doing a bit of a build with this, but one big thing is stopping me from doing that. And it's the word that every person, whether in the cars or not, is afraid of with their car. Yeah. Rust. And this one, that's bathroom sealant. This is the main thing that stops me from doing a project with this, because it's just falling apart. I've already got enough projects. I cannot handle this one. And that one was the pretty side. This is even worse. And it's not just here either. This side is even worse, because watch this. And, I mean, that is just terrible. Just terrible. So yeah, don't get me wrong. I would 100% love to fix this and actually turn it into a bit of a track weapon, but it's going to cost more than what I own just to fix the rust on this. And for that, I am still going to build it, but on a budget. I do mean a strict budget. Until then, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya! Microphone's gone and tripod's gone. You're going to hear him barking. So I've got to get this car up off the ground on jack stands so we can start messing with those wheels. Right, all the wheels are off over here. Just got to sand them down and get them ready to paint. Just to disclose, I am not a painter in any way. I have no profession in painting, but got them sanded down. I'm not really going to do anything about these because I'm probably just going to replace them later on. So, paint these black. Probably the calipers too. They might need some attention. Now I am doing this outside, so do not try this at home, especially when you're inside an enclosed area without any kind of extraction system. That's the first coat of the black on the wheels done. Now I'm going to do the calipers. So that's 3 coats of the black, 3 coats on the front calipers, and only 2 on the back. Guys, I'm probably going to replace those drums anyway, so they don't have to be perfect. So now I just got to do gloss on the wheels, and we can button this whole thing back together. So they're painted. Just gotta wait for them to dry and then throw them back on the car. It's my new tripod, by the way. This thing is awesome. For the reveal. And there you go. For quite literally for free. The paint was left over from a different project we have. All the paint, the sanding pad, everything. This literally cost me nothing apart from time. So, and that is quite a result too. So, hope you guys like this. If you like it, follow, subscribe, and let me know what else I should do with this. So, until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. What's up, everyone? It's Taylor Bosky here. And today we are going to be getting this cheap Civic ready for a car show that is happening in less than 24 hours. So as you might have saw in the last video, we tidied up the wheels and the brakes and made it look a little more pleasing. But now we gotta get more mechanical, because once I got done with that and started driving it, it started to sound like this. And I've actually been driving it for about a week like that, and it only does that intermittently. Once you start it, it's perfectly fine, but then it gets into a stuttering. At first, I thought it was like a fuel injector problem, but if it was that, it would be more constant. So I think it's a spark issue. So I've got new spark plugs and wires. We're going to put those in, and we're also going to do another aesthetic change to it. Now make this a bit more Japanese. And how we're going to do that is I'm going to take this hood off, and then we're going to start working on this. Right, so I'm about to start doing the spark plugs, and I cannot stress this enough. Do not use an impact gun on these spark plugs, because if these break, you're in for a world of trouble. So I'm going to start here and work my way down. So, a little bit of oil on that one. So, luckily I have the new gaskets coming. That should fix that, but right now, I gotta live with it. So, you always have to gap your spark plugs. For this Honda, it's 0.044 inches. So, I've got my feeler gauge right here. And you just want a light drag on it. And we have that, so this one's good to go in. Yeah, I'm just gonna and always make sure you have it in there finger tight. You do not ever want to try and just ram it in, because if you strip the threads on the inside of it, you're screwed pretty much. So I'm just going to do it hand tight, and I'm just going to do a quick snug on it. So about there, and that should be good. So another thing you want to do, you replace the wires one at a time, because each of these are different lengths. You see, one has to go from here all the way to over here, which means that this one has to be long, and this one that goes from here has to be short. You don't want to get that mixed up. You want to do these one at a time, and you also want to get the position of these right, because if these are wrong, then your engine will run very bad. In some cases, probably won't even run at all. So in this case, the old one's blue, new one's black. Pop her on. Make sure you fully seat it on there. And then put it back into this wire gallery. And put it back on the distributor cap. And that's that one done. Now do the rest. Yeah, I wish I had those gaskets today, but they're not going to be here till tomorrow. These two definitely need it. That right here. Let me clean all this off here too. I am going to probably do something about this valve cover. But again, that's got to wait until I get those gaskets. Yeah, that one's not near as bad, but still, definitely is due for one. Still has oil on it too. For the third wire. So last wire off. Set it right here for the seconds. This one doesn't look as bad as the others. Yeah, it's still oily, but still quite worn out. Last plug wire going in, and yes, I did check the gaps on all these before I put them in. And right there. All right. Now the last wire goes on. Right, so this is all done. Just got to clean up the crime scene, and we should be able to start her up. On the button. So this was a major success, but now my plan for this, and yes, I am putting it on top of an old kennel. That's what I got right now. So I've seen a lot of Japanese spec cars, and this is all based on what I've seen in the JDM world, and that is some white cars, especially like this Honda, they usually paint the hoods black, and actually it's a really old school racing trick that they do. It actually started in Dakar when the sun was, they would race for hours on end. And when the sun was going down, if you had like bright glossy paint like this, it could actually reflect the light into your eyes and you couldn't really see. So what they used to do is they used to paint the hoods black. And apparently this is an old thing that goes down in Japan too, especially when you watch Initial D on one of the, on the GR Corolla. The hood on it sometimes is black, and that's what I'm going with here. So now what I've got to do is I've got to sand this down with whatever sandpaper I got. I know I have some, probably not the right one, but you know, this just be different. Doesn't have to be perfect, just it has to be different. So I'm gonna sand it down and paint it, and we'll see how it goes. So before I start painting, I'm going to mask off the wiper fluid nozzles and the hood emblem, because the wiper nozzles still work, and I want this. I could probably take it off, but I don't want to break it, and it's the only one I have. And I'm going to take this to the show tomorrow, so I don't want a hoodless emblem. So I'm going to mask this up in those, and then we'll get started. Can you tell I've never done this before? I don't have the microphone because it's a lot difficult of trying to do these hyperlapses with that. But yeah, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mask just the emblem and then get the paint behind it. But as you can see, this is my first time ever doing it. So there will be mistakes, but you know, you live and learn. I probably just made a lot of painters cringe at that, but this, it's not perfect, but I think it's good for a first ever effort. I'm not gonna lie, this looks terrible, but gotta keep going. We've committed. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I'll just show you. Yeah, I did terrible. And also, I ran out of paint. But guess what? With all the problems that this car has, I think it fits. So, let's get this back on the car. Now, time to see what it looks like. So I'm here. So far right now, I'm the only one in this class right now. I'm right here in the middle. We got the hot rods over there. We got the rat rods over there. And yeah, the Jeeps are all over here in the one grass pit. So we'll see how this goes. Right now, all the cars are starting to come in. So we'll see how this goes. I was only able to get the Civic here because we got behind on the Charger. So hopefully we'll do good. I'm not expecting to come home with anything. I just want to partake. So let's see what we get. Alright, so this has been a massive success. So if you guys like this, follow and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. So as of right now, it is literally the day after the car show. And some extra parts have actually turned up just this morning to where I can finally fix some of the problems that have been going on with the Honda. And secondly, I now have enough space in my actual garage. Most of the time I've just been filming outside to where I can actually pull the car in here and actually do some work in the actual garage. So the only thing I need to move is the mower. So let's do that. Right, so now that all the grass and all the dirt and everything that was in here is now out, I can now go get the Honda that's sitting over in the carport and bring him on in. So if you'll remember from yesterday, when we did the plugs and everything on this, that is leaking quite a bit of oil into the spark plugs. And I'm pretty sure that's because the O-rings that go around the plugs that go through the cylinder head have been either have perished or have failed completely, which I think probably is the case. So I went yesterday after the show and ordered a gasket set for it. So that's going to be the first thing we do. There's another thing coming that I'll kind of show you later on. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take the coil off. We're going to set these to the side. I'm going to number them first. And then I believe it's just this vacuum hose right here and these 4 little 10mm bolts. And we should just be able to pop this cover off too. And we're going to do something special to that too. I'm going to show that here in a little bit. But just get these out of the way and then crack on and see what's going on underneath here. Right, so I've got the valve cover loose, and this is going to see what is actually going on in here. So I'm gonna come to the other side. I'm gonna move you guys forward so I can get around. So here we go. Oh, here we go. Don't want to move this too much. Yep. So that is interesting. I'm gonna set this down right here. I'm kidding. It's not that heavy. But let's have a look. Right, so I have now switched to my handheld, and I got my little flashlight right here. So yeah, there is still, even though I did this yesterday, there is still some oil in here. And it's a little bad on that one, but not too terrible. Yeah, and this is why I cleaned the garage beforehand, because you don't want any of that stuff coming in here. So what is actually going on here is what is still on the valve cover. Let me set this down. I'll grab that. All right, so this is the root of where the problems is, and it's actually with these little guys right here. These are the O-rings that are supposed to keep oil from going in there, but as you can see by this one, see how it's a little misshapen right there? That's where oil has been leaking through and getting into the cover. So if we replace these, we should not have that problem anymore. But first, we need to clean it up, though. Yeah, so this one is the problem cylinder one. And I think if you can see, that's supposed to be a perfect circle. It's not. It's got this little bump right here. So that is where the problem is coming from. All right, I also now want to see what condition this gasket is in. Oh. Yep. So this gasket isn't too terrible, but one thing I can see, in fact, I might pause and show you guys this. Yeah, so that is what's going on right here. And it is usual to put sealant right here, but you have a little bit of it hanging over the edge of the cover. And this isn't unusual, but what was worrying me was this part right here. This little, if I can focus, this little hanger part right here, because that was actually going inside there. Now, you do not want any of this inside your engine, because there's a little oil way that it goes down right here. Little hole that goes down through the valve cover, not through the head, and actually down into the block. And if it's in this stuff right here, can block that. So it is vital that we get rid of all of this so we can get ready to put the new gasket on. Right, so we got that cleaned off, and it's important that you get every little bit of sealant that is left on there off. Because if there's even a little bit of sealant left on there, then that will interfere with the fitment in between the new gaskets. And that is something that we do not want. Because an interference with the gasket means that you'll just have another leak, and then you'll be back to square one again. So since we have that done, that's ready to go back together, I'm going to do something special to the valve cover. Right, so I've got the valve cover all messed up. I am not doing the individual letters. That's just going to take forever. And I'm going to use the same, I think this is Chevy red, but it's the paint that I have, so that's what's going on it. So you noticed I just masked the top of these, but did the under of these. And that's because these I'll get these. That's because these little guys right here go right here, and that's rubber right there. Right there, and that's to take up the torquing when you tighten these down. So I just played it safe and covered these up so it doesn't interfere with that. Right, so I'm now going to start putting the gasket on. Yeah, on this part, it's going to go in dry. I've got this backwards, crap. And if you guys hear something in the background, it's this fan right here, because it is hot in here. So I'll set this back. So I'm going to put that in. Make sure it's fully seated in here. This is quite satisfying, actually. All right, so we got that on. I'm gonna put the sealer, and that does a little bit at that corners, because the corners is what is the weak point. That's why you gotta put a little bit of sealer on. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll put this back on. Now, just before I put these on, I went ahead and put new ones of these in here. So we should be good. So here we go. Make sure it's all in. All in. I'm gonna move this out of the way. And here we go. There we go. So now I need to put these in. These are important. These 4 little washers right here play an essential part, because they're a part of the only 4 bolts that hold this down. So it's important that you have these. And so I didn't lose them, I put the bolts for these in this little bag, marked the valve cover bolts. So they're right there. So I'm going to get these out and put them back in. Now these are supposed to be torqued at 7 to 8 foot-pounds, but I don't have a torque wrench that's that small. I only have one that goes down to 20 foot-pounds. So I'm purely going to have to do this by feel. So, and you kind of want to get, the rule of thumb is you want to go in a kind of X factor, because if you do one side, that might offset the other side. So I'm going to go this side to this side, and then that to that. So that way I have a kind of X motion there. So I'm going to go until get a little bit of torque, which is about right there. And I'll probably just go quarter turn. Wait until you feel it start to tighten, and then again, quarter turn. Yep, all right, so here we go. quarter turn, last one, go until you feel tension, and then quarter turn. Yep, so that should be good. So now I'm going to bring in the plug wires. We got number 4. It's number 4 right here. 3 to 3, 2 to 2, and 1 to 1. Right. Oh, you popped out right there. Right. Set these in. Right. Now you might be wondering, where's your oil cap? And well, I had a little bit of extra paint. Yeah. So now, there we go. Right, so I'm going to jump in here and start it. And I'm going to use the camera for my phone to actually look in these corners right here and make sure that we're not leaking. We're all good. Right, so I've come outside so I don't choke on fumes in there. And I'm gonna get all this cleaned up. Let this warm up for a little bit and recheck those valve cover bolts. Because as the heat gets hotter, those gases are gonna want to expand and then it'll try to bring it up, and I'm gonna try and make sure that they're all seated. Right, so while this is warming up, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tour on what's going on in here. So I've actually been using this little thing right here to film most of my stuff, because in here the lighting's not that great, and because I have this, I can add a bit more light, do different other shades. So normally I've just been doing it in this mode because it provides the most amount of light. And it's also important that I have this microphone, because while I'm in here, I have a fan right there with the window open, a fan right there. So you have like 3 or 4 fans going in here, and I have this just so you guys can hear what I'm saying. So yeah, so this is warming up. It's actually doing really well right now. There are no leaks whatsoever. So I've had this going now for it's almost up to temp. So I think here in a little bit we'll go over all those bolts again, and we'll wrap this all up. Right, so it's up to temperature. I want to test this microphone out on something. Right, so I've got this hooked up right now, and this is up to temperature. And the one thing I want to find out is, how good is this little one? So I'll put this by the exhaust and give it a few revs. So, right, so I'll come down here, and where's he at? He's at? He's that little pipe right there. So I'm gonna try and stick this next to it and see what it sounds like. I'm gonna stick it right about there. Got a little clip right here. I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah, that was loud, even in there. Yeah, I just went back and looked at it, and Didn't do that well. At least I know I didn't stand a better microphone in order to do that. Or this thing's that loud. Right, so this is now up to temp. I'm going to go over these one more time. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. And this one, we're all good. No leaks. We should be all set. So because I had a limited time to work on this car yesterday, I didn't get any B-roll of it with its new black hood. So enjoy this. Let's get this car. Right, what is up everyone? It is Taro Bosque here, and it is currently one of the hottest days ever since this whole year. And I'm going to do a bit of an experiment. So I've been driving this Honda now for about a few months, and I've never actually tested what it does to the gallon, like how much fuel I use. So I'm going to do an experiment today. I'm starting right here at this gas station, and I'm going to drive 25 miles south to French Lick, where I'm going to turn around and come back to this exact same station and this exact same pump to see what it does. So literally what I'm going to use is I'm going to reset the trip right here. I'm going to drive all the way down to French Lick and then come back and fill it up again to the first click. First click is what we're going for, and we'll see what it does. Also, it's quite busy here today, so I'm at the back filming this because so many people come up to me and interrupt me whenever I'm trying to do this. So that's why I'm back here. So I'm going to fill this all the way up to the first click, and we'll see what happens. Right, so we're now going. And what I'm going to do is first click. And also, I'm not going to be filming on my way down there because this car has no air conditioning or anything like that. So you're not going to hear from me until this whole thing is done, because I have to run with the windows down. Because the AC does work in this, but right now it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any refrigerant in it. It's just pumping out hot air. So I'm gonna get on the road and come back to this exact same pump. That pump right there, and then we'll see what we do. There we go. Right, so we now have a full tank of gas. I am now going to reset, and we'll hit the road. that is exactly 25 miles. I'm actually just outside French Lick right now, and that is where the 25 mile is. So I'm gonna go back down. I'm gonna head back. Doi. 51 miles. Right to the first click.
In 2014, 3-year-old Karina Sikatova went missing and survived.
No freaking way. No, I'm not having that.
She foraged for berries, drank from a river, and stayed warm by cuddling with her furry friend. The dog eventually was able to guide rescue to a location maybe not even.
No, that can't be right.
I just won 20 grand.
This summer, we're going to take tons of cash and give you our bottles.
What? Right, so it is now later in the day. I couldn't film the rest of it because of how hot it was getting, and also my phone was starting to overheat. But let's go over the numbers, and I'm going to go with the final one because there's no way it was the first one, because that would have been like well over like 80 miles a gallon, which is not. Nah. So the final number was 1.12 gallons of fuel put in. And if you divide that by 50, that's 44.7 miles to the gallon. That is quite astonishing, to be honest. So hope you guys like this. This was just little experiments. I know I've been doing these very short videos, not as long as I wish they should be, but I do have a couple of big ones coming. So if you want to, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys. Right, so this was a video I was not planning on making because I now have a problem with the Civic. The brake lights are stuck on. And the problem is in here. That's the fuse box, I bet. Oh. I'm going to turn the light on. Yeah. Oop. That switch right there. See, what's happening is there's supposed to be a little rubber bung right. Oop. I can get the focus. Ow. Hold on. Yeah, so there's supposed to be a little. So there's supposed to be a little rubber bung right there that's supposed to push that switch in and turn my brake lights off, and that is not happening at the moment. So I think I have an idea on what to do here. Right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to use a bolt and a nut in that hole to make that work. Okay, hold on. Ow. Here's the back. Nut. Okay, that's not working. Right, so right now the bolt is a bit too long, so I'm going to take it down to about here, which gives me about an inch to play with. And I need to leave enough to put that nut on, but I need to cut this down. And just a simple I've now checked, the nut still goes on, which means the threads are still fine. So I just need to flatten this down because it sticks out a bit too far. And then I can put it in. This thing is probably older than me. Ow! Luckily, that wasn't spinning fast enough to actually hurt me. It was a big surprise, though. So, with the belt going off, it threw the bolt out of my hand. And I don't know where it is. So, I'm going to have to make another one. Yay. Right, I probably should have done this before, but I'm going to use this to flatten that out. Who knew that just fixing a brake light switch could lead to such chaos? But either way, I've got it fixed, all grinded down to where I should now just be able to get this in. I have no idea if you guys can see it. Oh, no. Right, so it's not perfect, but it's in there, but oop. But it does work. It now pushes the button. If I can get the focus. So it now pushes in that brake button. So now, ow. So now the lights are not stuck on. And I am on a rescue mission right now because my little brother tire went flat this morning, and I had to go get his tire, which is in the back of this truck, and fix it. And now I've got to go all the way to Paoli to put it back on. So this should be interesting. Ow, shit. I am in this truck, and you'll see in the thumbnail, but I had a little bit of a problem this morning. So we'll deal with that later. Right now we have to get this done because this is one of the easiest things to do. So yeah, I'm in my dad's truck going to fix my little brother's car. So this should be interesting. Right, so it took me a minute to find it, but it's right here. And oh my gosh, it's on a freaking block. All right. Good. Right, so I've got all this stuff. Just gotta put it on. And just like that, his wheel is back on. So I'm gonna drop it, and then I'm gonna head home. Right, so what happened this morning? Well, short story is, I had to pick up that tire because I was on my way to work. I worked at a tire shop, and I was gonna fix it and then go down there and put it back on my brother's car. But I met my dad halfway there, so I can get the tire from him. He went and got it because I was on my way to work. And literally right when I came out onto the highway and I went up this overpass, the little Honda started sputtering like it was running out of fuel. And then just all of a sudden just conked out. Let it coast to the side of the road. Tried to start it, it cranks, but won't fire. And sure enough, turned the key on, I looked for a fuel pump, nothing. So I am 99% sure that my fuel pump is bad. But that's not the worst thing though. To get it out of the way and off the side of the highway, we pushed it to the closest parking lot, which was a movie theater. And the one thing that we didn't do, because it was 7 in the morning and it wasn't open, we didn't tell them that the car was stranded. So I've got to let them know that that car is stranded there until we can find a way to get it back. Because if I don't, then they can report it, and then it'll get either tagged or ticketed or towed. Which I don't want to do that again. I don't want a chance of that. So I am on my way to that theater now to let them know that it's stranded and we'll come back for it later. So yeah, here we go. Corvette, and a really nice one, a black top, red body, and white stripes. That's nice. Right, so this is where I was when the Honda decided to break down. I was basically coming up this hill right here, going good, and then about right here it sputtered a little bit, like just a little bit, just enough to where you'd notice. But it kept going. It kept going. I thought it was just a little glitch or something like that. But it wasn't until I just got to the top of this hill, which is about right here, and this is where it just completely died on me. Like, completely. Like right there on the right, where the Indiana sign is, that's exactly where I stopped. So Dad and I pushed it off of here, down this road, which I'm turning into right now. Pushed it up around this corner. And it's in the parking lot of this theater right here. Yep, and you can see it right there by the light post. Yep. Right here it is. So I'm hoping, I'll park right here and then turn this around. So I'm hoping if the water pump was getting, not water pump, if the fuel pump was getting hot, it's cool. It's been sitting since 7 this morning. It's now almost 3. I'm going to try and start it again, and if it starts, I'm not going to waste it. I'm just going to take it straight home, and then we'll come back and get this later. So, we'll see what happens. Yep, locked. Come on, you key. Why is the key not working? There it goes. Alright. Holy cow, it's hot in here. Alright, if this starts, I'm going. Here we go. And nothing. Yep, sure enough, I don't hear the pump. Right. So I'm going to have to go over there to the theater, tell them that this is stranded, and we'll come back for it later. Right, so they were actually pretty nice, and they said it's not going to be a problem. They actually said you'd be surprised how many times that happened. So I told them which car it was, and basically we'll have to come back here later tonight and see how to get back. Ow! So now the lights are not stuck on. Right, so it is a few days later. We had to wait over Labor Day weekend before we could actually get the fuel pump. So I'm going to do this roadkill style right here in the parking lot where we left it. So wish me luck. Right, so to get to this fuel pump, first there's one securing bolt right here, which I believe is 10 millimeter, that we are going to need to get out. So I'm going to undo that, and then we'll get this thing out. So So with that little bolt out, I'm going to set that right here. I should just now be able to pull the seat out here. There it goes. There we go. There she is. That's what we're looking for. Ooh, a quarter. Ooh, a nickel. No, that's a dime. Sweet. All right, so the fuel pump is right here. Now, before you do anything with the fuel pump, anytime you're working with fuel, especially when you got electrics going on, disconnect the battery, which luckily I've already done. So, I get that bit to stay in there. Take this out. Now I'm going to set these screws. I'll put them in the door right here. Right here, so I know where they are. Yep. That out. So hopefully now, with those out, we should, maybe. Yep, there she goes. That to the side. I might have to move you guys over here. Oh. Okay, I'll show you guys what we're doing. Yeah, that is quite rusty. I'm gonna try and get this out. But these worry me. So I might have to see how to do it. Okay. I am going to give this a try. See how bad these are. They are also 10 mil. Oh, geez. Here we go. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So if this one's comes good, we might be okay. Alright, so that one was the last one, so now I should just be able to, I might need to disconnect that, and probably that. Yeah, probably will. Should be an 11/16. Oh, wow. That required a bit of force. And there is going to be fuel. Let's set that to the side. Actually, no, I'm going to put this over here because I'm going to open that. I don't want to risk that falling in there. So I'll set that to the side. Grab that too. I'll keep that with it. All right, so we should just be able to lift this whole thing out of here. There, here she comes. Maybe. Here she goes. Okay. Thought that hose would have enough flex, it doesn't. Oh, that thing is stuck on there. All right, I'm gonna have to pause. Right, so we had a bit of a problem here because, well, it was a very, very, very hot day and my microphone overheated and stopped recording audio. So I'm gonna have to do the rest of this in voiceover. So let's keep going here. So what you're going to want to do here is there's a hose that goes in between the actual pump and the actual sending unit that you have to get off. And let me tell you, if you've not done one of these before, it's really, really, really difficult. You see those clips right there, because you need a needle nose pliers to get them loose. And on this day, I didn't have any, so I had to use what I had. And I honestly didn't know if I had one, but luckily there was these pair in the truck itself. So yeah, I struggled with this for quite a bit, so I'm not going to waste your guys' time. I'm just going to skip to the part where I actually do get it off. So after messing with those clips for quite a bit, finally, after probably about 15 minutes trying, it popped off. So the rest of this is actually kind of straightforward, because you just had to remove the fuel sock from the other one and just transfer it to the new one, which was actually a lot easier to do, because all I had to do was just snug it on there and reuse it. And at this point, I didn't have an extra set of hose to replace that broken one, so I'm just going to have to use it. So I'm just going to have to use this one right now, but I'm not going to be using the old clips because they're all worn out. I'm going to use these new ones so that I know that it is securely fastened in there, because last thing I want to do is tear this thing apart again just to do a hose. So yeah, just a case of tightening it on there enough to where it doesn't come off. And my advice is to do the top one while you have it out, but the one on the inside you're going to struggle with, so you need to have the screw in an accessible place for you to be able to tighten it up. Also, you might be wondering, why am I just doing the fuel pump and not the entire sender? Well, the actual sender of it was actually working okay. There was no need to replace anything else, and also it was going to take me about a week just to get the whole sender, whereas they had this little fuel pump in stock, so I was able to get it, and it was also quite a bit cheaper too. The pump itself was only about $45 compared to the entire thing, which is well over $100. So I get to save myself a bit there. And also, even if this is not the cause of the problem, I'm still going to sleep well knowing that I've got a brand new fuel pump in there. So if anything else goes wrong with the fuel system, I know for sure it's not the pump. Now, the last thing that you need to do is you need to do this electrical clip, because this sends power to the actual pump itself, and it is actually secured in, let me get it here, by this green clip right here. It just slots, and it's supposed to slot in there, and that secures that connector in there so that it doesn't get knocked around by fuel sloshing around in there. Right, so it is actually me a week later actually editing this, and I didn't have a video of me trying to crank it, because that video, my phone also overheated and lost that video too. So I'm going to cut to later in the day, that day actually, to where we actually go and actually rescue the Honda. Right, so none of our field repair works, so we're going to have to take my dad's truck and literally just push it about a mile or so to the house, because we don't have a trailer. We don't really have any choice. We tried fixing it where it is, and there's something else going on that we can't figure out. So we're just gonna have to go and literally push it back here to my mom and dad's house because it's the closest. And most of it's downhill. There's like a downhill overpass that we have to go down, but then it goes up and turns, and that's the part I'm worried about caving in the bumper of it. Well, I'd be fine with the caved in bumper, but it's mainly the taillights. I don't want to do lasting damage to it. So we're going to try to push it here and then figure out what's going on with it, because nothing's working. So we'll try that. Well, we got back to mom and dad's, and we scraped it a bit with the truck, but nevertheless it is back at the house to where we can finally start to figure out what is going on with this thing. Right, so we got the Honda back, and don't get me wrong, I wanted to record that to show you guys the process of it, because it was definitely a process, but unfortunately we are at a have a tight schedule to where we had to focus on getting it back, because we really only had tonight to do it. But it's there, and hopefully we should see what's going on with it soon, but we will have to continue this. But until then, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Right, so it is a few days later. As you can see, I am not at my garage. This is mom and dad's, because this was the closest place we could get the car to, because couldn't just roll it from one town to another. This was the closest spot. So either way, we got it home the other day, and I didn't record quite a bit of it because it was dark, and we were really just trying to work out what the problem was. But we finally worked out that the distributor is bad. So luckily, we've ordered one of those. It's actually here now, and so I'm gonna now put that in, and hopefully the Honda should be back in order today. Right, so we need to start taking these off. Put that to the side. This needs to come unplugged. That also needs to come unplugged. If I can do it. Hold on. There's a little screw right there that you have to take off before you can get that big plug off. There we go. Grab that. Alright, so it should just be this little tab right here. And there we go. So now for the big ones. It's probably going to be... So it is a 12 millimeter. There's that one. Set this over here to the side. There's one that's fairly hidden down here at the bottom. There we go. There's one more over here. And this one should be the last one. So with those disconnected, this should just come out. Whew. Right, so the new one, it's keyed. It has this little key arrangement right here. So you can only put it in one way. So I'm going to get it lined up. So you get it lined up. It's going to take a bit of a push to get it in. Right, so with that in, we can now start putting these on. Right, so what we should be able to do is plug these here in, and then plug that in. And if I get it the right way. Alright. Then plug these back in. Right, so everything should be good now. So I'm gonna try and turn it on and see what happens. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. In. Here we go. So I'm hoping that little keyway that went into the cam, I'm hoping I had that upside down. So I've taken it off, turned it around. So now we're going to try and start it. That's a good sign. There we go. Everyone, is Sarah Bosque here, and today we are going to be doing some extra work on the Honda to get it ready for this weekend. It is currently Wednesday, and this isn't going to take much to do, so I'm going to go ahead and get this done first. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make the back of this car match the front with the black. So I'm going to be painting all this black, but first I have to get rid all these little stickers here. I have no idea what any of this stuff means, so it's coming off. Right, so how am I going to do this? So I'm going to use a plastic razor blade and just get underneath. In fact, this one's already starting to come up. And just get underneath of this. And if there's anything that's a bit more stubborn, I've got a bucket of water that I can wet this down with to make it come off a lot more easy. Oh no, my Civic badge is coming off. Well, I'm gonna have to re-glue that back on. Luckily it came off in one piece. Right, so now that we got the back of this all cleaned up, I'm going to, first of all, wash it off, it's dirty, and then start masking it ready for the paint. I'm going to glue this on after we put the paint down. So I'm going to let this dry for a little while before we start doing the painting and prepping. But until then, I'm going to do something with the front that I've been meaning to do for quite a while. Okay, I'm going to have to admit this isn't working. Yeah, this isn't working. Yeah, I'm going to have to scrap this. Right, so it has been about a half hour and it's completely dry. So now what I'm going to do is I'm start masking stuff off so I can paint this. Right, so we are now ready to put the paint on, and I went for the exact same flat and black that I used on the hood, and luckily I can do this outside because it's not really windy. It is cloudy, but there's no wind and it is pretty hot, as you can see by my sweat. So hopefully this should go good. I didn't mess the whole car up, it's just the main area where I'm going to be working. So hopefully this should go good. So now that it has dried, we are going to now take all the tape off. I can already tell you it looks a lot better. I covered up the key. Hold up. Here we go. Just this last little bit. And now for the satisfying part. See if I can get this off. That was satisfying. Now for the tail lights. Oh yeah, that's satisfying. Here we go again. Got a little bit of overspray over here, but that's not too bad. That looks really good, actually. Really good. What is up, everyone? It's Taylor Bosky here, and yes, it has been a minute, but we'll gloss over that. But either way, we were having some issues with the Honda again. Now, think back to a few videos ago to where I said that the car had a bit of a stutter to it. So I thought I had fixed it, but no, it didn't really go away. So now I think that it's something going on with either the fuel injectors or the fuel filter. So we're going to see how that is. Now to give you guys an example, I'm going to set you guys back here at the exhaust so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. So as you heard, as I gave it a few revs, it flutters at the bottom, but then it smooths out the higher up it goes. So I know it's not the spark plugs or the injectors or the distributor because we fixed all that. So now my last two options are either the fuel filters, or the fuel injectors. And luckily, I have a new set of injectors right here. And I don't have a filter yet because that's coming late. That's coming tomorrow. They didn't have one today. So we'll get this up and we'll see if we can swap those out. Right, so it's these four right here that we need to deal with. And hopefully it looks straightforward, so let's get into it. Now we need to get this silver fuel rail off right here. And it looks like you just got one bolt right there, one right there, and if it'll focus, you got 1, 2, and is it 3? Yes, there is 3. So it should just be those 3 to them pop off. And I am a little bit worried because this does have fuel in it, so I'm going to have to see what we're going to have to do about that. So, give me a minute. Right, so I cannot stress this enough. When you're doing the injectors or anything fuel related, you have to be extremely careful, alright? I've not let this car warm up enough. I've only started it just to give you guys a little demonstration. That's it. It's not up to temperature. It's not up to anything. And fuel is highly flammable, so anytime you're working with fuel, I have a fire extinguisher right there. And also, if it does get out of control, I can just get out. I have the door open, I can just get out. Hopefully that's not going to happen, but we got to get into it. So what I know now is that you have to take off this diaphragm that's right here on the fuel rail in order to get to that third bolt. Right, so this should be the last screw that I need to get out. And I thought these were screws. These are actually nuts. So you gotta be real careful getting these out. I got lucky with the first one. It went all the way down to the floor. Right, so with that off, now before I do this, I've got a bunch of paper towels right here. So right. Ooh. Right, so 2 came out and 2 stayed in. Sweet. So now we just gotta replace these things. It doesn't look too terrible. I've got the new injectors right here. And luckily not a bunch of fuel came out. So luckily that's not going to affect my wallet very much. Right, so I do these injectors. It's these little tabs right here on the side. So what I'm trying to show here is these little clips on the side need to be removed.
Push them off the
and they are a
side.
pain to do. If I can. So I'm going to push this one to the side. And this one also up. Right. So that to the side. Hold that with my thumb and pull this one to the side. To where hopefully, if I can get it off. Wow, these things are pain. Alright. And just like that. Right, so if you couldn't see what I was doing before, these little tabs right here, these little metal tabs right here, you have to pull those out in order to get the injector off. So luckily now that I knew how to replace them, it was pretty much a breeze after that. Right, so that is the last injector. So I'm gonna have to put this in here. And as carefully as I can, I have to line all this up. Make sure they're all where they need to be. There. Yep, and then sure enough, put these in here. Give me a head start. That's where hopefully I should. Hopefully. Okay. So I'm gonna put these in. Oh, that last one looks stubborn. Ah, there we go. Alright. So now hopefully, just need to get these last nuts and bolts on and we should be good. Right, so that's everything buttoned back together. I'm not done the fuel rail yet, or the injector rail right here. I'm gonna leave that loose in case something goes wrong and I need to take it apart again. So I'm gonna jump in, start it. It's not gonna start first time, all right? There's no fuel in the rails now. So we'll see what happens. So the fuel filter, the fuel pump has primed. I'm gonna grab you guys and see, no leaks so far. So the fuel pump has primed, so it should start. Running and no leaks. A little bit of residual there I missed. Grab a rag, clean that off. Yeah, it's just residual, I can't really reach it. Okay, there's a little bit of a leak right there, so I'm about to shut it off. So this injector right here is leaking. Alright, so I'm gonna pull it back off and see what's going on here. I'm hoping, I just don't have this one. Okay, if I can get to it. From what I can see, I don't think I have that in all the way. So, yep, I'm gonna have to pull this back off and investigate further. Right, so I've loosened the rail enough, so hopefully I should just be able to manually pull this back up in here. Alright, hold on. Alright, so I'm going to use this little thing to try and push it back up in here. All right. So that's back in. Clean it up. Clean this up. Alright, so I don't think that's in there all the way, so I'm gonna have to pull the whole rail off and try and push it back in there. Alright, so I'm gonna have to pop it back off here. And shove him further up in there. Oh. Yeah, a lot of fuel came out there on that one. Okay. Okay. So So I think what happened there was it wasn't in there all the way. So, yep. Put this all back together and try it again. Alright, so it's all back together. Clean all the fuel off this and my sweat, because holy crap, it is hot out here. Right, now I'm going to zoom you guys in on technical difficulties. Hold on. That injector right there is what we're looking at. Right. So, here's the key. So it's primed. I don't see fuel. We're good. Alright, I'm going to give it a few revs and see if any fuel comes in. And with that, the injectors are done. And it actually sounds a lot better. There's no more flutter. In fact, let's go hear it. No flutter. And the only thing that's left is take it on a drive.